Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about a very sad case. If you saw the title, can you hold first? We're going to talk about a very sad case. If you saw the title, it's about Lindsay Clancy. She's a nurse, a mother, a wife, right? And about I say last week, maybe no, about 2 weeks ago, her life has changed forever. Um, we talk about postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis, are very serious things. Hi, Crystal. That I think a lot of people don't take. Well, I'm not gonna say a lot of people, but a lot of us don't know a lot about it and how serious it can be. And so that means that sometimes we think that people should just get over things, right? But let me tell you the story of Lindsay. All right. So Lindsay, she had been going through postpartum depression. Her family knew. She had went to a treatment facility and she tried to check herself in because she wasn't feeling like herself. She was depressed. They wouldn't allow her to check herself in because her insurance wouldn't pay for it. So they sent her back home. It's been said that they told her husband that she needed to have, don't leave her with the kids, and she had need to have 24-hour care. But that doesn't make sense to me because if she needed 24-hour care, then why would you send her home? Because if she needs 24 hours, no one person can give another person 24-hour care. But nevertheless, they sent her back home. So he, I guess he had to go pick up her medication. And while he left for just 20 minutes, while he left just for 20 minutes, unfortunately, when he got back home, he noticed that she was laying outside of her home, and she had broken her leg. No, she was out of it, so he called the police. But then when they went into the home, they saw the unsightly scene of her kids had been, strangled. And the two oldest ones were sent, which were 5 and 3, were sent to the hospital. Unfortunately, they didn't make it. And then her youngest one, he was still fighting. He was only 8 months. He was still fighting for his life. And so, the question has been asked, who's responsible for this? We spent all this money on these insurance packages, and and then when they really needed it, they weren't able to use it, and she was sent home. Also, I just have some people have brought up the fact that left the children. Uh, the father left the children at home with the mother. I know it was only for 20 minutes, but why would you leave the kids with the mother if you know she's going through this psychosis? So, they said as of now, she's in ICU. She can't walk and she can't move, but it's a real sad situation for everybody. So I want to play what her lawyer has to say and the updates that we have on this case, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to share my screen. So let's watch what her lawyer has to say. Another one. All right, here we go.
Will defend the Duxbury mother accused of killing her 3 children, secured his first win in court today. And he revealed something which shows us how he'll defend this case, as WBZ's Beth Germano shows us.
This family, as I said earlier, was on a road to hell, and unfortunately, they're not coming back.
A stunning development from a new attorney for Lindsay Clancy, who claims she was over-medicated in the months before she allegedly killed her 3 children and can't be held criminally responsible, what he wants a jury to hear.
Her husband actually went to the doctor the week before and asked for help and said, you're turning her into a zombie. And it was just a brutal, brutal existence that they were living.
Attorney Kevin Reddington went before a judge today seeking permission to have a forensic psychologist visit Lindsay Clancy in her hospital room, something that's not allowed under Massachusetts State Police policy for a detainee for security reasons, which he disputes in this case. and said she's had no contact with anyone but her attorneys.
Well, this detainee is in the ICU. She cannot move out of her bed. She's surrounded by medicated equipment, nurses, in and out constantly. There's no fear or need to fear that she's in danger.
Can't hear her.
Revealed that Lindsay Clancy was with her children by herself for 20 minutes that January night, while her husband got prescriptions at a CVS and takeout, and was never told she shouldn't be left alone. He says mother and children both deserve justice.
And I like to think that this case is being justice for Lindsay as well. I don't think anyone has to be lectured about the severe, horrific loss of 3 beautiful little babies.
At a church in Duxbury.
Okay, so if you heard what they said, so basically she was over medicated. She was on 12 medicines, Ambien being one of them, which I'm being told that this medication makes you feel like you're out of your mind and that you can't control yourself. I've never been on Ambien, but I know medication can make you feel like you don't control a lot of your own behaviors. The weight loss medicine that they prescribe to people, that it turns your personality angry sometimes. It's like, of course you're in control of yourself, but you can't understand why you're snapping so much, why you feel so angry, why you feel so out of control. So these medicines definitely take a hold of you. So she was on 12 medications. Her husband said she was like a zombie. The mental ward that she tried to check herself into before this happened denied her access to the ward because of insurance. They didn't want to cover it. They wanted her to go back home and to take care of it. And I just think that we're still living in a world where women aren't prioritized. That women are looked at as a second-class citizen because when it's an issue of women, right? When I read the comments in there, like all the women telling their stories on how they have been through postpartum depression, how, it was just overwhelming. It's overwhelming to have a child. And not only to have this child, right? Your hormones are out of balance. On top of that, you're sleep deprived. And some people don't eat correctly or probably barely eating because you're not in your right mind. And to think that, you went to the doctor and they put you on all these medications and you're already not sleeping well because you have a small child. Her child was 8 months. So I don't know when he started sleeping over the night or not because every kid is different. But you're already, already on a different sleep schedule. It's stressful to have children. As much as a blessing they are, they're a stressful blessing, right? And it's just looked at as if it's the mother's job to care for the kids. And she reached out for help. Her husband wasn't able to watch her for the full, 24 hours. And that's something in itself that we have to discuss, that, a lot of this parenthood falls on the mother. If I was a man and my wife was in a zombie-like state and, where I'm so nervous for her that I take her to the doctor, I don't know that I would even trust her along with my kids. I guess that's what I don't understand. I don't understand why was she left there with the kids to start with. I don't know if it's possible for them to remove the kids from the home or anything, but there's a lot of things that could have been done to prevent this. She could have been hospitalized. She could have been checked into a ward, but her insurance didn't want to pay for it. They could have removed the kids from the home, or with grandparents or aunt or uncle. There are a number of steps that could have been taken, but you have to wonder, how seriously do people take these situations? And do we look at this as, well, she just needs to rest, or, maybe if she just gets some time to herself, she'll get over it. And when the truth be told is, you don't always feel like you have control of your body. And then on top of that, not only does she have the psychosis, she's also on 12 medications. And I Googled one of the commonly prescribed medicines that they give to people with postpartum psychosis. And to be honest, I don't know how to pronounce it. Benzodiazepine. I don't know how to say this. It's a long word. But one of the side effects, listen to these side effects. The side effects give you extended anxiety, hallucinations, loss of sleep, So it's like the medicine is causing the issues that they're trying to get away from: fatigue, dizziness, headache, reduced heart rate. I mean, those are the minor ones, but I think the hallucination and the short-term side effects, which could cause hallucination, anxiety, memory loss, severe physical dependency, addiction. Those are some serious. The side effects of the medication can definitely cause the issues that you were trying to get help from. So, there's a lot we have to look into this case. It's very sad that it happened, but I think it's an honest conversation that we need to have. Is, when mothers have children, who's going to make sure that they're taken care of? Who's going to make sure that they're in the right space to be there for their kids? Who's going to protect them and the kids? Because right now, no one is. There's still no um, there's no protocols in place to make sure that mothers are protected after they have children. There's no protocols in place to make sure that, besides on your 6 week checkup after you have the baby, they ask you these list of questions. But we're sending kids home with these women in these high stress situations, which you're going to be up all night. You know everything is going to be adjusted, and then you already know that most women go through some forms of postpartum depression, and then you add the sleep deprivation and just the stress of having the kids. And if then that person is going through psychosis, it could just be a recipe for disaster. And even though these are rare, where the mother does this, it's still way too often. I don't care if it's once a year, that's too often. I don't care if it's once every 2 years, once every 10 years, that's way too often. And this has to be addressed. And so I think it's time that we start taking women's issues seriously, and that not just the doctors, but we have to be our own advocates before we have the children. So even if you don't have a child, this is still your fight also, because you never know where you might end up in 5 to 10 years, and are the ones you love and the people that are around you. We need to advocate for treatment for women, whether they show signs or not of postpartum depression. We need to advocate for it. We need to advocate that fathers are more active in the parenting roles of caring and rearing the babies, and make sure they're helping with the, maybe y'all are rotating. If you're already doing them, that's great. But you got to remember, and maybe the doctor should, warn and allow, there should be some type of, just like their breastfeeding classes, there needs to be some type of class for the fathers, that when you come home, your wife might not be the woman she was before she went in to have this baby. And that's just the truth. And I think that men think that women use it as an excuse to be hormonal and to be, upset and irritated, but it's a real life issue. And that maybe, medications can help some problems, but maybe just throwing medication on a issue that is way bigger than just the medication, or at least the right medication, not over medicating people, is something that we need to look into too. And we need to make sure that our insurances see the importance of having programs for women who are struggling with sanity, because now 3 babies are gone. She might be paralyzed, or who knows what she's going through. We just know she's in the hospital, and this could have been prevented if she could have, at least been allowed to be checked into some type of treatment facility. There is one more update I would like for you to see. I hope you can hear it.
There is finally an update on Lindsay Clancy. Kevin J. Reddington, her defense attorney, spoke to the Boston Globe, and I'll move out of the way and you can just pause to read.
One of the major issues is the horrific over medication of, I don't know what this is, that cause homicidal ideation, suicidal ideas. Remington told the newspaper. That's her lawyer. They, Lindsay and her husband, went to the doctors repeatedly saying, "Please help us. This was the turning. This is turning her into a zombie." The medications that they were prescribed were over the top, and absolutely over the top. And basically, like I said, she was on 12 medications.
He states that between October and January of last year, she was prescribed 13
Oh, 13.
medications.
including Ambien, which if you've ever taken Ambien or know anyone who has taken Ambien, you lose time. You don't remember anything, including all of these other meds. He said she can't get out of bed, she can't walk. Um, I can imagine what she's.
It says she can't get out of bed, she can't walk. I don't know what the medication prognosis is regarding that, but right now she cannot walk, Remington told police. She's not in good physical shape. She's not in good emotional shape. She did jump out the window, so I'm pretty sure that has some repercussions. She's been charged with 2 counts of homicide and 3 counts each of strangulation, assault, and battery. And we're not quite sure what the assault and battery is right now, and it hasn't been confirmed what that was and what happened.
She's going through now, knowing what she did, as well as not being able to move. It's heartbreaking to know that they were trying to get help because they knew the meds were altering her mood so much,
Mm.
and that they couldn't. And is this doctor going to have to answer for all the meds he prescribed her? So, insanity defense only makes up 1% of cases that lawyers use for their clients. And only 0.25% of cases using these pleas are successful. Law experts say it isn't likely that the insanity plea is used or successfully executed. So I am curious to see which route they take, but imagining them having to go through this whole process of trial in court and Patrick having to either be supportive of his wife or it's just going to be it's just going to be a very painful process, and I feel awful for everyone involved. Here is finally an update on Lindsay Clancy.
Even though I feel like her husband could have did more in this situation. Oh, y'all didn't see any of that. I didn't even add it to the screen. Even though I feel like he should do more, I don't feel like, at the end of the day, I don't feel like he is responsible. I feel like, we have to make sure that we hold men accountable and that they know that they play a big role in taking care of the kids also. But also, no man can take care of a child for 24 hours. Okay, let's just be real about that. Can take care of anybody for 24 hours. So that should have never been a thing. Um, but yeah, it's just sad. It's sad. And I'm hoping that, we can actually learn from this and not just say, oh, that's just an isolated case and let's sweep that under the rug. I'm hoping that we can learn from this and that in the future, things like this, um, that makes us come with protocols and processes because there's a lot of women that are being affected by this. And it's not right. It's not right. All right, guys. I'm going to end it there. We have a great day.